Hi, Peggy Mariner with Cloverleaf here, and today we're going to be talking about Enneagram. I love the Enneagram because it can be an onion that you peel and you can go many layers deep in it. We're going to be talking through all the triads, and I'm really excited. I've got this graphic up now, and this is what all 9 Enneagram types are talking about in terms of deep motivational desires. So these can show up in your behaviors and in your interactions, also in how you are seeking to have this need, this desire that you have, how you are seeking to have it met even in crisis. For some of us, a simple conflict or stressful situation can be crisis. And you can even flip into that stress mode when you are anticipating crisis or disappointment. So this doesn't mean that you have terrible things go on or you're dealing with great trauma. It can also just be everyday change and instability. Enneagram has 3 centers of intelligence, and each of those centers of intelligence is in operation in all of us. And if you are not dominant in one of them, you can call on that other center of intelligence. You just have to be intentional and thoughtful about it. It's not as unconscious, it's not as easy as your primary center of intelligence. So I'm going to start with the gut. The 8, 9s, and 1s of gut, they are very well informed about what their body is giving them as information. So they might have tingling or a pinch in their shoulder. It's the first place they know they're stressed out. This is often a knowing that you have in your body, and it is a confidence to proceed forward when you may not have all of the data, or you may not have a beat on how the information that you're going to be moving forward on, how it's going to be received by others. But based on your past history and this sense of how things would best be served, you can move forward with that center of intelligence. Often these are folks that can operate independently, they're really committed, and they have a strong confidence moving forward in action. If you need to unlock some gut intelligence, a great way to do that is by getting them in motion. That can shake loose some additional ways of them knowing things by activating their body. Now, the heart intelligence center, the 2s, 3s, and 4s, those are often empathetic, they are compassionate, they're informed by those around them. They have an intelligence for understanding the audience impact of information that you may be sharing. So they are really great to run ideas by as to how they think it could benefit those that you're trying to sell to or get buy-in on. And they also can keep a beat on the people impact in humanity of a situation as well. They're going to be really informed not just by emotions, but by the energy that they feel, but that they're able to read from others too. So if you're wondering how a meeting went or if it was well received, you could probably get a more informed, interesting perspective from somebody in the heart triad. These folks can enjoy service quite a bit, and they really value connection with others. The head triad is very analysis driven. They are going to make sure that things are thought out and they're planned out and that they have gotten the information. So if you are a gut triad and you're trying to lean on other intelligences for well-informed decisions, you can get audience impact from your heart triads or even team or culture impacts from your heart triads. And then you can get your data, your historical precedent, a well-planned strategy laid out so that you can take action with more confidence, having a better informed decision. If you are not primarily relying on any one center of intelligence, then you're able to activate all of those. You just need to be a little more thoughtful or intentional about asking yourself what the decision points are for the other centers of intelligence. So I really enjoy this for team dynamics, because if you need to pull other folks into a conversation, or if you need to get input before you make a decision, this is a great knowledge model for you to be able to look at and say, hey, if I want to think globally and I want to make sure I'm not falling into any strategic pitfalls or any cultural issues, or I am getting the best path forward to gain buy-in and people's perspective and really create a movement and energy behind something, you're able to figure out who the players are that you need to ask for their input on a decision. So love centers of intelligence for equipping a team to make well-informed decisions. Our next triad is the social stance. Now, this Hornevian triad is about how you show up to social situations and relationships having that primary need met. So when you are looking at that desire that you have for harmony or security or love and connection and being supported, or if it's success, that's driving decisions and behaviors unconsciously when you are interacting with others, including on your team. If you show up to a meeting and you have social stances in mind, what you might observe is that assertives roll in and they say what they need. They're confident being able to communicate what it is that they want from a situation and what they have expectations to walk out of the meeting with. And they might not be aware, but unless you understand that others are different from you and they may even show up to social engagements with different expectations and standards of operating, you might think everyone works the same way you do. So assertives could show up thinking everybody's going to start the meeting saying what they need from the meeting. But if you are a compliant, you show up and you want to understand what the expectations are for your role on the team. What are the social norms in a meeting? How do we conduct business? If there's an agenda, you want to follow the agenda and you're going to wait your turn to speak. You may not be as assertive and able to speak because you are respecting the standards that are set out already. You're going to understand what those are, and then you're going to meet and exceed those expectations as a way of meeting your needs, of getting it done well, of supporting others and being connected, or of getting some security and stability and knowing that you're moving forward with the best decision, or making sure that you have the team support in moving forward. In internals, in that dynamic, they are relying on themselves to have their needs met. So 4s and 5s, when they are in a meeting and they're hearing everything that's going on, they're going to retreat inside of themselves to think about how they feel and what they think about this, and if they need additional knowledge. So they do not rely on others to give them what they need. They will get the information they need and go inside to come up with their conclusions and the decisions that need to happen. So if you are keeping this in mind in a meeting, you can be thoughtful that not just assertives will speak what their hopes are or the roadblocks or their expectations are for the meeting. You can get everyone's input. And if you are hoping, like an assertive, for example, wants some decisions or some outcomes from the meeting, communicating to internals ahead of time what the agenda is or what you hope to get gives them the time to think through and develop what their opinion is on a situation so that they can show up and give what is needed to those involved. Also, communicating what the expectations are, what success would look like, helps compliance to be prepared to also execute in real time. So in your next meeting, be thoughtful about what do people need? How do they best get what they need? And can we get everyone's needs met about this meeting, either in preparation, during, or in follow-up to this meeting? And you might have more productive meetings knowing that these dynamics could be at play and others don't naturally operate the way that you operate. The final triad that I'm going to talk about is the conflict approach, or the harmonic triad. This is super fun because if you've ever had any stressful situations or been in conflict with somebody and you feel like you're just saying and doing the same things again, you're just running the same cycle. I've called it a death spiral. This is one of the things that could be at play. So the conflict approach can present for these types when you are in conflict, you're experiencing stress, and it can even happen when you're anticipating disappointment. So you haven't even gotten to the disappointment yet. You are just anticipating it. This can be something that you flip into. So how I have seen this happen is reactives, sometimes called the realness triad. They are communicating that we have a problem, and they're doing it pretty expressively, externally, and they might be emoting with an intensity that they feel the problem holds. Unconsciously, they are looking for somebody to emote back to them with the same intensity. That is going to unconsciously communicate to them, my problem is understood and we can move on from here. But sometimes that doesn't happen. And positives that want to see the opportunity, they want to reinforce the silver lining, the glass that's half full, they're going to talk about what is still good. They're going to talk about what hope there still is. They are trying to get everybody out of the pits of despair to think about what is still hopeful and what could still be salvaged from the problem. If a reactive wants to be acknowledged that there is a problem and a positive is refusing to dwell in that, those two can feel like they are actually opposing each other in a moment of conflict. Meanwhile, the competency triad that wants to get to a solution does not want to ride that emotional wave of being in the trough nor at the crest, and they want to get on to solving the problem. They have been fully disengaged, and they are already on to logical outcomes to find a solution to solve the issue at hand. So that can be a death spiral where there are three different factions. Maybe you are sitting in the same conference room when this is happening. Somebody's carrying on, seeing the same problem again and again, maybe repeating it in different ways. Someone else is saying, but this is still good. We can still salvage this. And then there are others that aren't even speaking, and they've already sent emails off and they're working on spreadsheets at the same time. If you can stop that spiral and begin by addressing the reactives, saying, hey, you are angry that they switched our strategic plan halfway through the quarter and they're not giving us any other resources to meet these goals. And you think it's unfair and unjust, and you don't think we should have to be accountable for these goals. They might go, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. And the positives, they didn't want to acknowledge how hard it was. They want to say, hey, but we still have done great work. We already know that these possibilities are happening. We were already halfway to our goal. All of these things are still good. And when they stopped and bore witness to how hard it was, it allowed the reactives to join them for the positivity and the enthusiasm and the opportunity that still lays ahead. And if competency can walk that road, acknowledging the problem and being present in the hope and opportunity of what still could be possible, they actually do themselves a service of processing emotions which are really there, and they're able to be unified with everyone on the team to go and find the solutions that the competencies have been mentally working on this whole time. So this can help that cadence of checking in and bearing witness to the problem until the reactives are heard about how real the problem is, being inspired by the hope and opportunity of what is possible, and then moving on to the solutions can allow the whole team to be unified. And then you can make well-informed decisions and move through conflict in a healthy way that brings you to alignment. That is like chef's kiss for team dynamics. dynamics. I hope that this walk through our triads is going to equip you to have better conversations, better decision making, and better process of moving through conflict to alignment in your teams. Because Cloverleaf wants to unleash you to do your best work.